So up next is another keynote with a closer look at how charger manufacturers can stay competitive in a software-driven e-mobility market. So, this is also something that we touched upon earlier today. Our speaker is the founder and CEO of Switch. So let's have a warm welcome for Dr. Mark Multin. Mark, hello.
Thank you for the kind introduction, Mariana. Hello, everybody. Let me start by sharing a little story of a recent charging experience. So some months ago, I headed to Munich because I had an appointment somewhere in northern Italy, so rented a car. And on my way there, I needed to charge halfway through, obviously. Then in this app, I see that there's some hotel that has a charger. So, great, it's on the way, it's just off the highway, let's do that. So I turn up to the car park of the hotel, look around, no charging station. So I go inside to the reception and I think maybe they have an idea where it might be. So I go in and they say, well, it's somewhere down in the parking garage. Okay, back to the car, head up to the parking garage, which is super narrow. I start to sweat because I've rented a Porsche Taycan. And I really don't want to get a scratch in this super expensive car. And then I see like 10 Tesla chargers on the left-hand side and one charger that I'm supposed to charge on the right-hand side. Pull up. And I see from the branding it's some local utility I've never heard in my life before, and no instruction whatsoever how to start the charging process. So I head up back to the reception and hope to get some guidance from the receptionists. And they say, oh, the charger, we don't have anything to do with that. That's some company that rented a space, and it's up to them. Like, we don't have anything to do with the charger. So I think, OK, that's great customer service, great education of the staff on site. So I go back in, and then I download some MSP app that's somehow I got this charging process started. And I would have just wished that I could have just plugged in and charged. Because Porsche Taycan can do plug and charge, but this specific charger cannot. So all of this obviously creates charger anxiety. And I would assume some of you have at some time already experienced some form of charger anxiety. Maybe short show of hands. Any experience? Yeah, OK, some. So why is it that when you compare the status quo of the charging ecosystem to the gas station, why is it so bad in comparison? I mean, we are like 13, 14 years into having first chargers and EVs in the market. Obviously, it's still a very nascent market, right? Lots of stakeholders that try to make their buck, that fragments the ecosystem a lot, and in the end leads to a very frustrated user experience. We have the electric vehicle that needs to talk to the charger in the same language, and you have the charger that needs to talk to the cloud-based management system in yet another language. And with language, I actually mean communication standards. And this is just part of a wider ecosystem that needs to work like a well-oiled machine in order to make the whole charging session successful. Within the next 20 minutes, I'm trying to show you how we can heal part of that fragmentation, so charger manufacturers specifically can move on to more innovative and interesting business models than just having just a working charger. I guess we all have seen and heard these online articles and YouTube videos that show us how poor the reliability of charging stations are, especially public chargers. Sometimes charge point operators, they don't even have a clue that their chargers are not working. Some of them maybe don't care, which I don't hope. But often they are just lacking the proper monitoring tools. And this obviously creates downtime. This leads to frustrated EV drivers. And obviously, the revenue drops. So these are the 5 top issues that we often see when it comes to a failing charging station. Unresponsive screens, and sometimes often a confusing UI so that the user doesn't even know how to start the charging process. Broken connectors due to an overuse or misuse of connectors, and also charge point operators not really caring about replacing the equipment in time. Unreliable communication, without a fallback to Wi-Fi or Ethernet if the cellular connection goes down. Charging initialization issues, meaning that the EV and the charger don't have interoperable software, or the charger and the backend don't have interoperable software because they have slightly different interpretations of communication standards. And number 5, our all-time favorite, payment system issues. So clearly, we need to do better. Now, if you want to be successful as a charger manufacturer and sell your charging stations at scale globally, it's not just enough anymore to just sell a working charging station that's somewhat reliable. If you want to be successful, you need to have these 5 features on your menu today. Number 1, plug and charge. Obviously, that's the most user-friendly way of starting a charging process. Bidirectional charging is like that big topic currently for enabling energy self-sufficiency at home or tapping into additional revenue streams with grid services. Stronger cybersecurity. I mean, governments are doubling down on stronger cybersecurity requests, and rightfully so. More advanced component-level diagnostics, so that a charge point operator knows exactly what's going on their chargers. Every little sensor that can provide information is useful. Information is key to reduce downtime and reduce maintenance costs and increase the uptime. And smart charging, load management, it's obviously a given that needs to be available on a charger as well. So the good news is that the technology, and that is the standards that enable these features, they already exist. Yeah. I want to point out specifically, standards are important because they make sure that we have interoperability between different vendors. Yeah? They also prevent us from a lock-in effect into proprietary technology. And they provide investment security, all of which is really important for every one of you if you want to sell chargers at scale. So, and I want to point out specifically 2 standards that are super important. One is OCPP 2.0.1, it's actually a de facto standard. And the other one is ISO 15118, including plug and charge. And as a co-author of ISO 15118, I spent a significant amount of my professional lifetime helping businesses understand the ins and outs of the standard and how to apply it properly to their products. And part of my educational effort is also publishing white papers. And these 2 white papers specifically, they will blow your mind. They will really open your eyes as to the potential that plug and charge and the advanced component-level diagnostics of OCPP 2.0.1 can bring to your products. And you will ask yourself, why the heck aren't we onto this already? So if you scan this QR code right there, it will lead you directly to our download page, where you can download the white papers free of charge already. So I'm going to have this QR code for a few more seconds, so better get your phones out right now. The issue with the standards is they evolve over time. And as a result, they get more sophisticated and more complex. But charger manufacturers already have their hands full with all other kinds of stuff. MID-compliant meters, Eichrecht, it's a whole mess, getting that up and ready for your chargers. So in implementing standards is not something that they should do themselves. That's where partnerships come in. You don't have to do everything yourself. Partnerships allow you to focus on your USP, what sets you apart from your competition. And focus is essential in a fast-paced, services-based industry where you need to think about what is your value-added service that you can put on top of a bulletproof foundation that provides all these standards. Because everything else is just distraction. At Switch, we have been working very hard to bring a cutting-edge operating system to market, and we call it Joseph. And it helps you to embrace all the future-proof capabilities that ISO 15118, including all plug and charge and OCPP, brings to the market, without having to start from scratch. So what does Joseph entail? Well, for example, take ISO 15118-2. Brings plug and charge not only to DC chargers, but also to AC chargers. Because let's face it, once an EV driver has tasted the sweet honey of plug and charge at a public charger, you want to have the same experience at home or at your workplace, right? So why not give it to the AC chargers as well? Or ISO 15118-20, which is the standard for megawatt charging of heavy-duty trucks. And it's also the standard that brings bidirectional charging to the masses. But we also do realize that many cars out there still only support DIN spec 7121, which is a DC-only standard without any security and no smart charging. But with Joseph, we help you bridge this gap until all the EVs catch up to ISO 15118. And of course, OCPP 201 is also part of the package. And in fact, 2.0.1 is the only version of OCPP that naturally supports plug and charge. So how do you integrate Joseph into your specific setup? Well, it's a well-defined API that enables a smooth communication exchange between our ISO 15118 communication stack, which you see here on the left-hand side of the right image, which is managing the communication between the vehicle and the charger, and our OCPP stack on the right-hand side, which is managing the communication between the charger and the backend. And implementing one standard and implementing another standard is challenging in itself, but making them interact with each other properly in the charging station, that's a whole new different level of integration effort. So the only thing, and a message broker in the middle glues everything together so that we have the access to your specific hardware setup, so we can access the information from the display, the RFID reader, the smart meter, and power modules, and so on. The only thing you as a charger manufacturer need to do is implement a few APIs, and that's it. All the worries about implementing and maintaining standards is taken away from you. And of course, you get a dedicated support from our Joseph team and the customer success team so that you can make the most out of it. We support you all the way from start to finish. This gives you a faster road to market with ISO 15118 and -20. And we seek to certify our technology leadership all the way through. So OCPP 2.0.1 is now available for certification since June this year, and we were among the first to get certified for OCPP 2.0.1. And not only on the charger itself, but we got a dual certification also for our Switch platform in the cloud. And our Switch platform is the only OCPP 2.0.1 certified platform that also supports plug and charge. And you don't need to trust just my word. We also went through the whole hassle of getting audited by HubCheck as well. Wasn't really that much of a hassle, but it's a procedure. And so the Switch platform, which is our charging station management system, is audited, and we are working with HubCheck to also get Joseph audited as well. But currently, HubCheck doesn't offer this procedure. They only certify or audit backends or hardware, as in EVs or chargers. But we identified a path forward to also get an operating system for EV chargers audited, and within a few weeks' time, Joseph will also be audited as well. And this means for charger manufacturers that you will sail through the audit with HubCheck with little to no effort at all, because we take all the effort away from you. Now, our hardware manufacturer partners are the cornerstone of our mission to accelerate the transition to EVs and to streamline the EV charging process. Take ABB, for example. ABB is the world's biggest manufacturer of charging stations. ABB and Switch are in a tight collaboration, and every new AC, DC, and megawatt charger coming to market from ABB will be running on Joseph. Right now, we are integrating Joseph on their megawatt chargers, and we're having some test sessions coming up towards the end of the year with MAN and Scania buses. And in Q1 next year, these chargers will be on the market. We also have some good collaborations with Alfen and Zaptec on the AC side to bring plug and charge to the masses. So how do you make use of this? We realized that charger manufacturers like to test a software before they commit to a license. And we hear you. We meet you halfway. Which means as of today, we are launching our Joseph Try Before You Buy offer. This means that you can either download Joseph free of charge onto your own communication controller, or if you're interested in a communication controller from us, we'll pre-install Joseph on a communication controller from ChargeByte. I see my friends from ChargeByte over there. So it's more of a turnkey solution for you and less of an integration effort. It's the complete Joseph stack as in our commercial license. The only limit is that a charging session only runs for 10 minutes, and then you have to restart the charging session. But it's enough to prove the point that it would be valuable for you, that you can test it and integrate it, and the charging session works end-to-end. And with end-to-end, I mean that you also get access to our Switch platform free of charge for 2 months. There's a trial period for 2 months, so you can conduct end-to-end tests from the vehicle to the charger to the backend, all the way into the HubChat ecosystem with our Switch platform. And you know what's the best when you enable or you connect a Joseph-enabled charger to the Switch platform? You get access to the ISO 15118 message logs right next to the OCPP message logs in our platform. What has so far been a black box for CPOs finally becomes visible. This is super important for charge point operators because this enables them to identify issues that are induced by the ISO 15118 communication between EV and charger, take these message logs, engage with the manufacturers of the cars or the chargers, and help, and this way fix the issues quicker. And the second benefit is that they can send more meaningful messages to the display of the charger, so they give the EV driver an indication as to what's going on. Why is a charging station or charging session failing? Could be that the certificate is expired, or maybe the vehicle violated a charging profile that the station provided. There's numerous issues that can happen. And this is really, really important to improve the error diagnostics. Now, if you scan this QR code right there, this gives you access to my calendar directly. And then I'm happy to walk you through the trial and book a slot for you. We have limited availability, though, because we also are not a huge team, so we have restricted resources, but we have a few slots towards the end of the year, and we do expect a lot of demand. So it's on a first-serve, first-come basis. So who first reserves a slot gets a slot this year. Whether it's on your roadmap this year or not, we will see, but we're happy to walk you through. Again, the full software support from our Joseph team and customer success team. Now, the aim for us is, of course, to make Joseph the best and most advanced operating system for all kinds of chargers, AC, DC, megawatt, and eventually also wireless chargers. But this is not going to happen overnight, that every charger will be running on Joseph. And we realized that some manufacturers have already started implementing their own 15118 and OCPP 201 version, which is great. But in order to leverage this potential, you need to connect this to a platform that can leverage the possibilities of 201, all the advanced diagnostics, enable plug and charge, and visualize the right information in a user-friendly way. And this is becoming more and more important for charge point operators, but also for testing labs. Because some testing labs need a backend that is able to do a proper plug and charge integration end-to-end, vehicle to charger to backend, because they may also need it for their certification procedures. And I'm very happy to announce that Switch and DEKRA have engaged in a special relationship. DEKRA is the recognized test lab from both CharIN and the Open Charge Alliance. And this allows them now, finally, to do these end-to-end tests and do a proper plug and charge session all the way into the HubChat ecosystem. So I'm not sure if Beat Kreuter is here somewhere or maybe joining remotely, but I would like to thank him for making this collaboration possible. So this is going to be a huge game changer, and it enables DEKRA to finally launch their certification for plug and charge, because as of today, we don't have any certification for ISO 15118 or plug and charge. It has been long in the making. And finally, we can also help DEKRA to accelerate this. And towards the end of this year or early next year, DEKRA plans to bring this plug and charge certification to the market. And we're happy to support. Now, we do realize that there is an increasing demand in testing labs. And it's not surprising if you really think about it, because we are transitioning from a rather immature early adopter market to a more mature market with increased or with more sophisticated EV drivers, more government regulations. So we are happy to also offer our Switch platform to a select number of other test labs in other geographical regions. And one of these test labs is P3, or P3 Digital Services. And I see my friends from P3 sitting here in the front row. So I guess many of you have heard of P3. They are known, for example, for their P3 charging index that they regularly publish with all the different charging curves from different vehicles. They also published the P3 Wallbox benchmark a few months ago. And recently, they launched the P3 Energy Lab in Osnabrück in Germany. And we're happy to collaborate with P3 so that they can, similar to the DECRA user switch platform, to test all kinds of use cases related to plug and charge, and specifically also OCPP 201. Because a lot of charger manufacturers have already knocked on their doors and said, do you have a platform to charge, to test the plug and charge, the OCPP 201 implementation? And up to now, they couldn't, but now we can make it happen, and I'm very happy about this collaboration. This collaboration starts now, as of September, and it's a great time saver also for the charger manufacturers. Because again, focus is key. You need to focus on your USP as a charger manufacturer. And let me let you in on a little secret. It ain't going to be implementing communication standards. This is a distraction. You need to focus on what sets you apart from your competition with more value-added, sophisticated services. Whether this is, let's say, loyalty programs with big advertisement screens, or some smart home and solar integration, or the most sophisticated way of controlling the power modules, or the most aesthetically appealing charger, whatever it may be. But it's surely not implementing standards, because these standards will become commodity very soon. Think about laptop manufacturers, for example. Do you honestly think that they implement the Wi-Fi or Bluetooth stack themselves? Of course not. They get this from their chipset suppliers. So why should it be any different in our industry? There's a lot of parallels you can draw between the EV charging industry and the telecommunications industry, so let's please not repeat the same issues. So what I wanted to say is that it saves a lot of time in terms of testing on the EV charger manufacturer side, so they can focus more on what really sets them apart. And it is becoming more and more important for charge point operators to have a peace of mind, to select the right equipment, to be future-proof. And that's why we engage with all these test lab collaborations. But we are going one step further. We are now launching also our own Switch Approved program, which means that we run through a set of test cases that are very similar to the OCPP 201 test cases, and make sure that every charger that is running on Joseph, or every charger that is not running on Joseph but properly implements OCPP 201 and integrates with us with a Switch platform, that we can give them a Switch approval. This gives peace of mind for the charge point operator. They know that plug and charge is really working well, and that they get the more stronger cybersecurity and component level diagnostics that gives them more insights, like an MRI scanner over the charger. A way deeper analysis, which is super important. And I'm happy to announce that IO Charger is the first one that received the Switch approval stamp. IO Charger themselves, they have been certified for OCPP 201 in June as well. They are a Chinese manufacturer, but they focus their sales in Europe and in the US. And there's a great collaboration between Switch and IO Charger that will come to the market soon. This concludes my keynote for today. Happy for you to connect with me on LinkedIn. Please remember, if you want to take us up on our offer for the Switch try, the Joseph try before you buy, scan the QR code now, as long as it's up here. And I'm happy to answer all kinds of questions. Oh, one more thing I forgot. If you want to see Joseph and the Switch platform in action, feel free to see us outside at the Plug and Charge Showcase.
So in the interest of time, we actually have just a couple of minutes left, and we have already one question that was sent in via the app. So why don't we just go ahead and take a look at that one? How do you navigate the diverse implementations of different protocols to maintain consistent data quality for all roaming partners?
Well, when it comes to roaming, we speak about the platform in the cloud, first and foremost. So we need to make sure that dynamic and static POI data is of high quality, of course. That's always a problem that is only to some degree we can manage. It depends on the installers if they provide the right information to the backend, so we can then forward it. I mean, we make sure that we implement both OICP, Hubtrax roaming protocol, and also OCPI. I don't think there's any certification for these roaming protocols as of yet, but it would be a great step forward to increase data quality. But yeah, testing, and making sure that also for the user of the platform, you make it super easy to put in the information. It needs to be really, really intuitive. When you onboard a charger, it needs to be super easy to fill the right information that you guide it through. And I think that already helps to provide good quality data.
Any final thoughts from our audience? Yeah, we have a question right over here. If there's somebody with a microphone, yeah, the colleague is coming.
Thank you. Mark, maybe that's a bit of an ignorant question, so please enlighten me. What is the difference? I mean, my understanding is that Joseph is somewhat of a competitive product to Everest, which is, as we all know, an open source coming forward that implants a lot of the packages. So, first of all, is this the case? And if so, why should people choose Joseph over Everest?
Okay. Yeah, so Everest is an open source solution that is focusing on the firmware on the charger. So in that regard, it's a competing product, you could say. I mean, Joseph is partly also open source. The ISO 15118 stack of Joseph is completely open source. You can see it in GitHub. The OCPP part is not open source, at least not yet. We do have some plans for open sourcing it in the future, but we don't know when exactly. But for example, if you want to be future-proof and have peace of mind with certified software, I would say rather go with Joseph because we test like crazy. We have very rigorous testing with our partners at ABB, for example, also, and Alphen and Zaptec. We are certified. As last time I checked, Everest doesn't have a 2.0.1 implementation, and their ISO 15118 implementation, at least the application layer, is based on Joseph.
All right, thank you very much. We're going to leave it there. Mark Milton from Switch, thank you for your presentation, and thank you to everybody for your questions. Great.